Okay, thank you everyone for coming to the 2023 annual membership meeting of the OPSIG. As we've done the last couple of years, we've held this online through Zoom, so more people can attend rather than people who are just at the convention, which we had done in the past. So again, if you have any questions at any point in this time, just put it in the chat. I have the chat up and we will try and answer them to the best of our ability. Just to introduce some people who are here tonight, Bruce Morden, who is the current vice president of the organization, Eric Smith, who is a current board member and does everything for the organization, webmaster, editor, and other things. I saw Mark Nolan, who's here, who is leaving the board. His term is up for that. We have John Swanson, who is our new treasurer, who's going to be appointed or has been appointed. Jeff Fryman, Rick Watson, and Paul Weiss are coming on the board after this meeting, basically, as part of the new term. Just want to talk a little bit about financial status. The organization is in good shape. We do have plenty of money in the bank. You may have noticed if you've read the last issue of the Dispatcher's Office, we talked about raising dues for the print editions of the magazine. And unfortunately, we're losing too much money at what we were charging $25 for a year. So the new price is going to be $40 for a year, $10 for an issue per issue moving forward. It just we've had more expenses with printing and more expensive with the shipping. And just as an organization, we discussed it as a board and said that we really need to make it so that the print and digital get us to a break-even stat. We get some money coming in through the advertisers we have in the Dispatcher's Office, and we just want to try and not lose too much money for doing the magazine. Financial information again will be posted in the Dispatcher's Office moving forward, as we always do, just giving information of what's going on. I don't think Peter is on here. Peter Kerr, who is our election chairman. As we know, we had 5 candidates for this year's election, which is a lot more than we usually do. We usually only have like 2 for 2. So it's great to see that there were a lot of people who volunteered their time to help the organization. Jeff Fryman and Rick Watson were the ones who won a board position. Roger Circa, who is our treasurer secretary, and also a board member, had to resign. So we are going to appoint Paul Weiss as his replacement to fill out Roger's term. Eric, you want to talk a little bit about the Dispatcher's Office and website?
Sure. Yeah, as Rob said, we continue to shift more towards the digital side than we do the print. There's all sorts of information in the last issue about the actual financials. We're trying to be entirely transparent when it comes to the money. The increase that it simply has to be done to cover the expenses. We don't want to, especially given that the way we allow people to renew for up to 3 years, it will take a while for that new pricing to really be reflected in our financials. So that's kind of the other, it's not like you raise the price of a cheeseburger and, well, here's the new price, and all of a sudden you start recognizing all that revenue. We have there's kind of a lag. Just a quick, in terms of numbers right now, based on the July issue, people who got the July issue, we had a total of 1,345 issues go out. There are about, subtract 11, so make that 1,332 because or 1,334. We do have some complimentary ones for our advertisers. In terms of print versus digital, like I said, we're running about 2/3 digital, 1/3 print these days. The other thing that's in there that only affects a handful of people, international shipping has gotten just completely outrageous in terms of pricing. We have 11 people who are outside the country who are getting print. It's costing, I believe we've spent something like $80 to mail those 10 or 11 issues. It's simply too expensive, and it's also unreliable has been the big issue. We end up having to replace issues pretty regularly. We had one issue that I don't remember how many stickers it had on it, that it kind of bounced around the world to get to Canada. So that's kind of the other change that will be happening. The people with international and Canadian print, they will get one final issue. At that point, we will convert them over to digital only. We are extremely happy with Kevin Yaney and Yaney Publishing. They have been our designer and publisher for several years now. Kevin and his folks do a great job. We get the issues out. The issues are generally out early. We have never missed a deadline. The issues are always generally in your hands by the 15th of the prior month. So we're continuing the contract with Kevin. I also want to thank everybody who's contributed articles. I currently have a number of them in the queue. Looks like about 15 articles currently in the pipeline, not counting things from our regular columnists. We're always looking for more people to write. If it's anything remotely related to operations, meaning, is it something that you did on the prototype? Were you a prototype? Were you a real railroader? I mean, I certainly wasn't. There are lots of people who are out there. Are you doing so? Tell us about your layout. Tell us about the thing that you're doing that maybe is a little different than anybody else. Tell us about an industry or an industry area that you've done. Tell us about how you're using electronics in your operations. Like I said, we have a very wide net. Best thing, if you have a question, just email editor@opsig.org, and we can certainly talk about what you're looking to do. Generally, the answer is if you'll write it, we'll help you edit it and get it into the magazine. I believe that's everything for the DO. There's a comment about, I would propose that all distributions for the newsletter be via digital. Well, we're kind of working our way towards that. However, we do have a number of people who like having that hard copy in hand. So at some point, will we go all digital? Maybe. As we talked about in the issue, we're at the floor of what the printer will charge. So as we lose more and more print people, the per copy price will continue to rise. So that's just the economics of printing. We're simply below the minimum. In terms of volunteers, if you're looking to do something for the OpSig, we've already contacted our board members about that. We are always looking for a few more ads. We don't want to turn this into a model railroader level advertising, but a few extra ads here and there can help with our financials. If somebody has a little bit of time and would be interested, I could use somebody to be the advertising coordinator. Please contact me if you're interested in that. And then obviously anybody who's interested in writing an article, you're more than welcome to do that as well. So any other questions about the DO? Not seeing anything in chat. Okay. In terms of the website continues to be functional. Few things we have added this year. The big thing was making the 19 copy 3 West book available for download for members. This book is out of print, and it would simply be financially prohibitive to try to reprint it. So the board decided to make this available. It had come up, the questions had come up prior. If you're interested in getting that, please log into opsig.org, and there's links right on the member homepage. This is for your use. This is not for distribution. Please don't go putting it up for everybody to download. For $10, somebody can come in and get it themselves. We'd rather use this as a recruiting tool, because obviously the people who wrote it still deserve some credit for what they did, and we don't just want to, there is still a copyright on it, so please be respectful of that. We continue to do the virtual meetups. Those are actually getting a lot of, we're creeping ever closer to actually being able to monetize the Operations SIG channel on YouTube. We need a few more 100 viewing hours. And the more important thing is we are picking up new members because of that. Same thing with the Facebook page. We're somewhere well over 3,000 people following it with the stuff we post there. So again, it's all basically marketing for the OpSig. That's really the way to think of it. In terms of the YouTube channel, if you have a layout video or something that you think might be interesting to post on there, and a lot of people have their own YouTube channels. If you'd like to have the OpSig post it, please contact me, editor@opsig.org. The more videos we put up, the more content we have, the more views we get, and eventually that trickles down into new memberships. Also with virtual meetups, we're continuing to do those once a month, and we have people scheduled out through at least the next couple of months. I'd like to keep a nice queue of people who are interested. If you're interested in doing that, please let me know. And I think that's everything, Rob. Any questions on any of that stuff? Feel free to unmute yourself or type it into the chat.
A few questions, yeah.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay, thank you, as always. So next item on the list is the board is proud to announce that the 2023 Bill Jewett Award is going to go to Eric Heiser. I'm sure a lot of you have seen his articles in the dispatcher's office when he's up to what, 19 now, Eric? Right?
Yeah, I think he's up to 19. I think that's right.
19 parts.
19 just published, 20 is being worked on right now.
Okay. Yeah, he's been, put it this way, he's been writing articles for only slightly, I've only been editor slightly longer than he's been writing articles. So that's,
Yes.
That's an impressive.
Congratulations to Eric Heiser. We will get you the plaque. I'll talk to Phil about getting that made and sent out to you.
Well, I appreciate everybody providing such a great forum for talking about railroad operations. It's been a pleasure to work with Eric and the designing staff. They've made it look real good.
Okay. And I believe Speed from the 2023 convention is on here. I invited him to talk about what's going on down there. If you want to unmute yourself, there you go.
Speed at the bottom of the helix. We would really like to see you this August at the 2023 Texas Express, the National NMRA Convention here in Grapevine. We have a record number of 24 layouts, and over the last year, we only lost one due to medical conditions. I think in the last DFW interchange, we had about 12 layouts, so there's quite a number more. At this point, all the OPSIC people who were registered for the convention had their first choice in the, I think, last 3 months. We then allowed the rest of the convention attendees to pick their layouts. There are 2 layouts. And we had the deadline for registering at a lower price at the end of last month. So we're giving those people next week as well to pick their layouts. And then we unfortunately have to let the committee who's running the convention as well as the local people to the DFW area to allow them to pick. So we've been withholding all those people from getting the best choices. But once those 3 weeks go past and everybody who has signed up will get an email saying that you can make a third choice for layouts. We are currently filled at 55%, so there's still plenty of layouts to operate on. And I think the OPSIG people did the smart thing by picking all the operating sessions early in the week so that there's more time for you to do more layouts later in the week. So we do have a lot of sessions available on Thursday and Friday as well. So leave some room in your calendar if you're coming to the convention for more operating sessions. So if you have any questions, let me know.
You want to talk about the layout that's going to be layout or layouts that are going to be at the hotel itself?
Oh, so there's also the NMRA conventions always have the Operations Roadshow, which is a chance for a team of NMRA people who has been doing this for, I guess, the last 40 years to teach you a little bit about timetable and train order. So we have a humongous room with a Fremo N layout set up just like we did last year in St. Louis, except this time it might be a little bit bigger. And I know that because I'm building the yard that's going on the back wall, and it's just 29 and a quarter foot long, and that's just the classification yard at the back of the layout. And then from there, we use the length of the room, like I believe 2/3 of it, to fill it up with more modules just for operating. So they are going to do some car swap or tab on car. Not completely clear about that, but then a whole section of it will be JMRI switch lists, and there'll be a dispatcher to teach these people timetable and train order. Please leave some time to go sign up for that. There will be 3 sessions every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, and 1 in the evening. And you just simply walk in and interrupt the dispatcher and sign up for a session. So don't feel shy, and at least come stop by and say hi and make the people proud of what they did.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, anyone have any questions about what's going on in Dallas-Fort Worth area in August?
Don't be shy.
Yeah.
Hey, Speed, what's the best way to get to the airport to the hotel?
I would say the easiest would be to take an Uber or a Lyft.
Yeah.
I do not know if the hotel has a shuttle, because it's actually not an hotel, it's a resort. So I can find out.
I don't think it does. I think that the website talked about getting either a shuttle or the commuter rail option to get there.
Yeah, but the commuter rail is going to put you
Yeah.
in Flower Mound, and then you gotta.
Yeah.
So the resort itself has free shuttles in and around Grapevine itself. So you would need to get to someplace in Grapevine and then use the resort shuttle to take you there. But it can't be $1 million to take an Uber from the airport straight
Right.
to the.
It's
the
pretty
resort.
close. So
I mean, map says if it's the Gaylord Texan and
Yeah.
Convention Center, it's 4 miles. So
Yeah, if I was 20 years younger and it wasn't August, I would have walked it.
Thanks.
Speed, there's a question here about how can you specify where we can register our layout choice? Hugh, are you already registered for the national convention? Just go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yes, I'm registered.
Okay. Speed,
So-
he should have gotten a
so-
registration code, correct?
Yeah, so the default answer is please email me or forward me the 1 or 2 emails that you received from the convention when you registered. And nobody ever forwards me that email, because at the bottom of that email, it has the exact link you need to go to get your authorization code and all the instructions on how to register. So If you have trouble with that, then email me your registration receipt, and I will highlight the part where that's how you register.
Thanks, Speed.
Now, if you never got an email from the convention, then I need to get with the registrar or the treasurer and make sure that you are registered, and then we can manually send you a link. Now, if you registered before, I would say 2 months ago, then you would have gotten an email from the system with the instructions emailed to you personally. And I can gladly resend that if you misplaced it or someone swallowed it on its way.
Good, thank you.
If there's no other
I might
questions,
just,
go
I
ahead.
just might want to mention that for the third session, we're going to have to create a place on the 2023texasexpress.com website where we show what sessions are still available, apart from the SIG room that would have a sign-up sheet as well. Because Eric might be able to explain, but you cannot log in and pick another layout. So we would have to do that manually, but it's as easy as sending me an email and saying, hey, I would like to go operate here. Just know that I don't have email at work during the day. So you're going to have to wait till after 6 o'clock in Texas. And I promise you, I will process it in the order that it came in. So if Rob and Eric wants to go to the same layout that you picked, then first come, first serve.
Okay. Okay. Again, if there's no other questions for Speed about the convention, I'll just open it up to the floor. Anyone have any questions about the OPSIG, what we're doing, what we're looking to do? Any of the new board members want to talk a little bit about what they're looking at to move us forward? Anything that's open forum at this point. Yeah, as Bruce Morden just put in the chat, hope to see a lot of you at the convention this year. I will be there again. Not as president anymore, but I will be there to do at least 2 or 3 op sessions and 10 clinics and help in the SIG room as I've done before. We're always looking again for people to help at the desk in the SIG room for the OPSIG to answer questions and direct people on what to do. People always come in with questions and look to cancel their sessions after they booked them and say, oh yeah, I was on this tour and it's not going to get back until 7 o'clock at night. That always happens. So we're willing to help you with that at the desk in the SIG room at the convention itself.
Yeah, this is Jeff Fryman. Speed did a great job of describing what the roadshow is going to be doing. Please do not disturb the dispatcher, that's me. But my operator, Cindy Young, who will be sitting next to me, is the lady that will sign you up for the various sessions. I hope to see all of you down there and sign up for one of our sessions. It's about twice the size of St. Louis.
Nice.
Sorry about that, Jeff. I thought the dispatcher was the signer upper.
That's my operator. She'll be while we're setting up on Sunday, she'll be having a table where she'll take names at that time. You can pick your sessions. And anytime while we're in session, she'll be around to accept registrations.
Before we get too wrapped up, on behalf of the remaining board members, I wanted to thank Rob for his 6 years of service to the OPSIG on the board, and to Mark Nolan for his 3 years on the board. We appreciate all of your time. Also to, I don't see Joe Rodenberg for his time as treasurer. We wanted to thank John
Gotcha.
Swanson for stepping up to take that over.
Mhm. So there's a question in here about the Operation Roadshow layout. Is that just TT and TO, or are you gonna do other things? Is that Tom had asked that question?
It is timetable and train order.
Okay.
Is it only timetable and train order?
Well, we've got a small sections that's going to be JMRI, and I don't know how he's gonna handle the switching in that one area. But the trains going end to end will all be timetable and train order.
So they'll run from staging to staging, or however you got it set up. And when they enter that particular area, they'll be handed a switch list to handle the switching in that particular area.
They'll be dispatched with a switch list for what their train's going to do. There'll be train order boards, several locations throughout. If we want to add an order, schedule a meet that wasn't there when you started from one point. This is a large layout, and I expect it could take as much as an hour to traverse the whole layout. So,
Well, especially since it's been switched to Engage from the old layout, correct?
well, our layout was HO.
Right.
Yeah, that's, I mean, the old one was HO, the new one is Engage, so.
Right, and we're taking and putting on top of an assembled Engage layout, our timetable train order scheme, so.
Well, how many operators are you planning to try and facilitate to operate on this during a particular session, Jeff?
We're estimating 18.
And a dispatcher
I think it's 16.
pardon
I
me,
think it's 16, right, 16.
But
okay.
you will pair them up, right?
Yeah.
They'll be
Dispatch
paired up,
range.
yeah.
16
engineer
people
pair.
coming to learn. Then you've got people helping the layout, probably yard masters, right? And
Yes,
dispatchers and all
They'll-
that sort of things on top.
there'll be pilots to help the crews go around.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? We're here to answer anything you have for us as best we can.
Hey, Rob, you guys are gonna have some of the compendium books out there at the convention, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I plan to have at least a box load of compendium books. Not sure we'll bring more than that. The sales of it have slowed, obviously. Because a lot of people got it when it was new, but it is good. We'll have at least a box of
Yeah.
them out there to sell.
Save yourself some shipping if you want to get a copy of that.
Yeah.
Before the meeting ends, this is Doug Gurin with a query for the listeners. Looks like a very good turnout to this meeting. I'd be interested in hearing from any of the participants as I get ready to finish the design work on my layout. If you have any special knowledge of World War II railroading, the Pennsy and the New York Division, railroads in northern New Jersey, railroads in the 1940s, rail marine and modeling time, meaning more than just timetable and train order. Some of the things like demurrage and on-time delivery, protected service, a lot of aspects of time that model railroaders don't really pick up on much, except in the more recent mentions by Eric, I think. So if anybody has any comments, I'd like to at least hear them speak out now. You don't know yourself. If you know any people that you can refer me to, I'd appreciate that.
If you're looking for stuff on marine, I would talk to David Ramos. He did a session on his New York Harbor Railroad.
Yeah, I know. Yes, I know him. I've operated on his layout 4 or 5 times.
Yep. I mean, he could have gone at least a couple more hours on that session with all the
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
he's trying to communicate.
Right. Well, I'm modeling the New Jersey side, so there are a lot of questions about how do you block for each of the different car floats, and are there any other factors besides just balancing the float that you have to think about? Just to give you some examples, maybe the readers are interested for their own float.
There's
you know.
also Dale Baker has the Port of Catoosa Railroad. I don't think he's got ferry or any car floats, but he may have some information about just dealing with, a port. So.
Right. Well, I have talked with John Teichmuller, and Tom Flagg was my inspiration. So I've gotten some excellent input, and Bernie Kopinski, who wrote a book on rail marine and stuff like that, is an advisor and is helping me build a layout. So there's a lot of knowledgeable people that I've already checked in with. But
and last thing I'll throw in is about the unofficial railway ops group, correct?
no, I don't know about that.
Groups.io. Let me get you a link. We keep calling it unofficial. It's only because we haven't funded it and we don't moderate it, but I'm one of the admins there these days. I'm helping out Bruce. So if you take a look at the chat, there's a link there. This has been around forever.
Yeah. Yeah, old Yahoo group.
Yeah. It's just on groups.io now. So.
And it's just OpSig on the group's IO.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
there's
go
a
to the
link in the chat.
Yeah. Go to the chat.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
called Railway Ops Industrial SIG. It's real awkward name, but it's the like I said, OpSig does not moderate it per se, but we do. There's a lot of crossover between us and them. So.
Okay.
And there's also a note in the chat about Bill Kaufman in San Rafael, California, does the state belt of San Francisco, which included car floats and troop train movements, which would have been
Right.
good.
Yeah. Mine is like on steroids. And so there's a number of operating issues that come with that. And I haven't really come across hobby literature that talks about transloading between rail cars at dockside and, in my case, a Liberty ship, and how that was handled and the timing of them, the turnaround time. If you're working 24/7, how do you simulate that? Number of different things on the rail ship part, which John Teichmuller never covered.
Yeah, I'd suggest posting something out in the discussion group. There's lots and lots of knowledge out there.
Okay, thanks.
Well, one thing that I could ask with so many members present on OPSIG is if there's any other topics that you'd like to see covered in the transportation series. The next set is going to be on perishable service, looking at the handling of perishables and the various forms of refrigeration, ventilation, and protective, which means protected from cold service. So those are coming, but if anybody has a additional topic that they'd like to see addressed in the column, either sing out now or feel free to send me an email at the eheiser.rr@gmail.com email address that appears in each issue. It's fun to look and learn about the different areas of transportation service.
Is
Eric,
the
follow-
perishables going to be from anywhere besides California?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Are the perishables going to be anywhere from other than California?
Yeah, so Jeff, good question. I will talk mostly from the Santa Fe perspective, which is mostly from the California, Arizona, New Mexico area. But I do plan to talk about the general topic and the National Perishable Protective Committee's rules and regulations. And so that will include a number of the northeastern roads and the northern roads, particularly in the discussion of protection against cold service, which was not as much a Santa Fe issue, but I plan to cover the entire topic in terms of the rules and regulations that applied to it.
There's
Great.
always the Tropicana trains and the potato
And-
trains, you know,
And the banana train, right? Won't talk about that specifically, but you will see in the series a discussion about a number of the issues for those services and how they were handled. So it will be of general applicability, not just the California citrus traffic.
Eric, on the follow-up to the coal article, I'd like to get a little bit deeper into hoppers were assigned and generally not interchanged with other railroads, but some railroads had agreements where they would enable use of one railroad's cars on another's layout or another's railroad. So I'd like to get a little deeper on what were the agreements, what were the permissions, and what were the restrictions on interchanging hoppers among railroads.
That's a really good question. I haven't found very much on that. I actually did receive another phone call or an email from another gentleman on that issue. His was sort of the opposite. He was looking at transshipment in the New Albany area of Indiana, which is right close to the river between Kentucky and Indiana, pretty close to Ohio. And what he was surprised to see is that about 15 to 20% of the total carload going through that was not online cars. It was things from like the Utah and Carbon County Railroad. And he was saying, how in the world was that getting here? And so he was asking me how cars could get captured into those services when they weren't from the area. So I think there's perhaps more interchange than we expect. The actual agreements, though, that between the railroads is going to have to be found in the either in a notice in the official railway equipment register that certain cars from one railroad have been leased to another, or in the business records of that railroad. There was not really a central registry that kept track of the assignments that occurred back and forth. Some of the coal areas did have an agreement between, it appears, when I say it appears, air quotes, an agreement between the carriers that they could utilize each other's car if they ran afoul of the distribution rules. And that was to prevent cars from just sitting in yards when there was demand for them.
I'll send you some information on the B&O from.
I'd appreciate it. Always
1953.
happy to run a follow-up.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, if there's nothing else on the OPSIG or questions, I guess we can have a motion to adjourn. Keep it up for discussion afterwards, so you won't be
so
recording.
moved.
Here, a second.
Second.
Okay, thank you, Eric and Eric. The meeting is officially adjourned at 7:40 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Thank you for coming out. Again, Eric Smith, did you stop the recording?